Welcome back to Synchronicity Talk Radio for your mind, body, and soul. Happy Valentine's Day. I got into the station today and someone had sent me a letter with little wooden hearts in the envelope, so thank you. I love it when I get, I don't know if I want to call it fan mail, but I love getting mail and email. You can go to my website, spiritualshow.com, and you can follow me on Twitter. I'm Marie Bernard. I've got a Facebook page and a synchronicity page. I love hearing from listeners from all over the world about, how whatever episode you've listened to has made some kind of difference in your life. So please do communicate that with me if you feel so inclined. And today we are speaking with another life-changing person. She is Cindy Lou, author of The 4-Man Plan, A Romantic Science, and she's really figured out a way to kind of transform the drama of dating and create something that is much more meaningful and an opportunity for both men and women to really grow and become better people. So thank you so much for that, Cindy.
Thank you.
Yay. So now let's talk about, unless there's something that you feel is more important, I'd like to talk about sort of the differences. You mentioned that you had been with a lot of guys who were really good at making you cry. And so there's, for me, like my last boyfriend over the summer, and then it was on again, off again, on whatever, he wasn't a player. He was one of those guys, we started out as friends. I had the worries that I was going to hurt him. And, he's really kind of a gentle soul. And yet at the same time, even though he had the best of intentions and certainly was not a player by any means, he also was not really in a place where he could take proper care of my heart. So what do you do with that when you find yourself in love with someone who has the best of intentions but just isn't the right one?
Just that phrase, take proper care of your heart, would mean that it wasn't time or wasn't the connection that you needed to go that next step. Because really, until you're in a consciously negotiated monogamous relationship, we're not required to do that for each other, right? In fact, even within a relationship, we're not really required to do that with each other, except that we want to help each other heal. So it's not anything against him. I think you've said some lovely things about him. It just wasn't the right connection at the right time for you to take it to that next step.
Yeah, and it was kind of interesting because I don't know if I should share this, but we here we go, get ready for it. We decided that we were going to be friends, and tried to be, and so we had a conversation the other night, and he had confided in me that he was feeling, we got a lot cleared up, and he was feeling like he had kind of screwed up the best thing that ever happened to him, and yada yada yada, and which I can appreciate, because a lot of times you feel that and you never hear that feedback. So I mean, it did feel good on some level to hear that. Yet it wasn't long after that we had a disagreement where he said something and I was being overly sensitive and whatever, and we he wasn't able to apologize for hurting my feelings, and I feel like right there I was like, well, this is why we broke up, because I even said to him, I was like, listen, I know I'm being irrational, I know I'm overreacting, I'm sorry that you're annoyed with me, and I just need you to say I'm sorry for hurting your feelings so we're not fighting anymore. And he was like, well, I'm annoyed, blah blah blah. And I actually said to him, I'm like, okay, you told me that I was the best thing that ever happened to you, and now you're telling me that you're willing to risk the friendship that we are trying to have because you're annoyed right now. And his response was, yeah, because I'm really pissed off.
Okay, so was this during the relationship or after?
This was just recently after. We're broken up.
Yeah, I think, well, we all have so many versions of ourselves. There's the divine self that we can connect to with other people, and that's that great in-love feeling. And then there's the other puppeted ego versions that come out and fight and dance and, do their little numbers. And when we are ego to ego, there's no winner. Put it that way. But I think a lot of times that comes out as a defense mechanism. I think putting the friend whammy on a guy that really was in love with you is a very hard pill to swallow, especially now that you find yourself happily in a relationship and he's probably still sorting out what his culpability and responsibility for the path taken is. So I think direct, friendly contact with you now, although it sounds like a good idea, he's probably just not ready for. So he's pushing you away in the only way that his ego knows how, which is to kind of hurt you. That maybe you will not want to be friends with him. Well, that would be my 2-cent, coaching thing for you, and just to have a lot of compassion for him, and also recognize that you took that opportunity to take something personally, which is always great to notice. It's always something fun to work on, to see where you are with that, and just to share a lot of compassion with him. And maybe it's time to let him go for a while until he comes to a place where you can both be friends and find a reason for that friendship. Some thing other than like, I don't want to be the bad guy.
Okay.
Like some co-creative thing that you guys can be doing together.
Well, I mean, the reason that I brought it up is, I totally get, I've after this, it's like, yeah, let's just, maybe we can pick this up some other time in the future as friends. But the reason I brought it up is because this was classic behavior pattern that happened while we were together. And so is that, he's not a bad person, but clearly, if you're in a relationship with someone who is behaving that way, is that time to let him go, or do you try and work on that?
I think it's really a case-by-case basis. So I see so many potentially great connections split up over something that is an unexpressed truth or some withholding or, more along those lines. I think, not everybody stays together. Certainly not everybody stays together forever. But when relationships have that clean feeling, it's because every reason of breaking up was over the truth, And I think there's just a little stagnation there for him, because you know that when he would say things like that, that's not really who he is. But if he doesn't have control over that, if he doesn't have any self-awareness that he can switch over to being this sort of meaner, hurtful version of himself, that's when we have to start thinking about, like you said, if he can't take care of your heart, then that's up to you to do. So if he's got this version of himself that he's not aware of that's really hurtful, that is when you step away and take care of your own spirit.
Okay, fair enough. And so, Cindy, what we've only got about 18 minutes left in the show, and we're gonna have to take another break in a couple of minutes. So maybe I should do that first before we get into another bit of conversation here. So we are speaking with Cindy Lou. She is the author of The 4-Man Plan, A Romantic Science. You can find her at the4manplan.com online, and her book is available all over the place. And she's also on Facebook. Her name's Cindy Lou, and the group, The 4-Man Plan. If it's a closed group, how do people find it, Cindy?
Somebody asked me this the other day. I'm a secret club. I think, I did have a forum on my website, but I think the thing to do now is we're going to be building a fan page very soon. Just friend me directly. My Facebook page is my fan page right now, so that's just my name, Cindy Lou, L-U. And I'm the Asian girl with the pink top on.
Perfect. Okay. So we'll be back with more synchronicity in just a moment.